All right, guys. You're live with me. All right, guys. This is going to be our live review of Survivor Series WarGames. The PLE just concluded. We had a lot going on. We had, obviously, we're going to start at the top of the show. Well, the bottom of the show, right? We had, obviously, the Bloodline WarGames. Where we had the new Bloodline versus the OG Bloodline, and we obviously saw the OG Bloodline come out victorious. I think it's a feel-good moment, although I was actually anxious on the latter end of the match when Sami Zayn was picking everybody up, and then they were kind of surrounding Roman Reigns or whatever, and you didn't really know what was going to happen. It honestly, I was anxious. I'm not going to lie. I was definitely anxious. I felt like there was going to be a turn or some caveat that was to be had there. I don't think, I wouldn't call it a missed opportunity because, like I said, and this is what I've said all along. I feel like the OG Bloodline is going to stay together only because they're looking for a happy send-off or like a happy ending for these guys. I definitely think they want Roman and Jay and Jimmy, and shout out to Jimmy Uso, right? Real quick, not to get off base or whatever, but that splash from the top of the cage was a phenomenal moment for Jimmy, someone who normally lacks those moments. I mean, his last match was WrestleMania, where it wasn't. We were there for it, me and Matt, if Matt is still here. We were very disappointed in the crowd at WrestleMania during the match. It's not even like it's something that we look back on and we go, oh, like the match was lackluster or it lacked something or anything like that. While we were there live, we just felt it like it just was not a good match. And it kind of, to me, like going into WrestleMania, I thought that was going to steal the show. I really did. Unfortunately, the chemistry for Jimmy and Jay did not translate. The last part was one of the best finishes. I agree. NJS says, I have to read this. You're low-key the best WWE streamer. I love you. We appreciate that here. But, later, X. Let's talk about it. I mean, let me pull up the, WWE Survivor Series 2024. Okay. So, yes, babe, it's over. So, all right. So, like I said, we'll start at the main event. The main event was Shane with the no. We doing a talk show? Too much light exposure there. Talk to a podcast, Shane, you're stupid. So, again, we obviously had the Bloodline match, which headlined this card. I think it was I want to bake cookies. Let's do it, babe. You can come up, bake some cookies, bring them up. You're always welcome. Look, we got the fireplace going and shit, but you're ruining my YouTube video. So hold on, babe. Okay, just bear with me here. Obviously, so we saw Jey Uso and Tama Tonga start the War Games. I love Tama Tonga. Yeah, you can come over. I love Tama Tonga. I think Tama Tonga has solo appeal in his future. I think he has the potential to be a mid-card champion, and otherwise just be a foil. Like I could also see Tama Loa. I could see Tama Tonga being a main event foil for a little bit. Maybe not necessarily winning the title. But like, look at Roddy Piper, and I'm not saying he's Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper is obviously an all-time great, but I definitely see a place for Tama Tonga in the fringe mid-card, like upper mid-card area. The guy's just money. Like he hears the crowd reaction and then he buys into it and he just feeds into it, you know? So he's a great talent. I mean, let's be real. Can we say right now that Jacob Fatu is by far the best signing in all of wrestling in every promotion of 2024? I want someone right now to honestly, and not like, leave the tribalism aside, right? I don't care if you like WWE or AEW. AEW is kicking them. I mean, I don't want to say kicking themselves. It was kind of a foregone conclusion that he was going to end up in WWE, right? But if you mean to tell me if AEW had the chance to throw just boatloads of money at Jacob Fatu that they wouldn't do it, you are out of your mind. Jacob Fatu is an absolute, just phenomenal all-around wrestler. He's deceivingly athletic, okay? I know we haven't seen much mic work from him, but him calling Roman Reigns stupid was absolutely hilarious. You know, the guy just has a feel for this company. And this industry, rather. And I can't wait to see what he does. We already had a tease of him and Bron Breakker. I absolutely loved it. I think him and Bron Breakker have the chance to be an absolute WrestleMania classic or like one of the major 4 PLEs. I could see that happening. But we'll come back to the men's war game. So let's go with the beginning of the PLE. We did have the women's match. It was obviously Nia Jax and Bayley that started that match off, and they wasted turn on post show. I'm done. They wasted absolutely no time going back and forth in the match with some hard hitting action. Queen says Tiffy not cashing in again. We'll talk about that too. I think that, sorry, whoa, Seltzer's repeating on me a little bit there. I think it's the right call. I don't think Tiffy should cash in a War Games. Let me ask you a question. If Tiffany cashes in during War Games, what happens to the match? You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be absolute chaos. Guys, do me a favor. Share the live. Double tap the live. Let's let people know we are still in here. Shout out to Gail Lewis, as Jake likes to point out here. I'm just sharing the live right now. She could have after. I definitely agree with that. I would have loved to see her cash in. But again, I really don't think she cashes in on Nia Jax. I know everyone says that's like the natural progression, which arguably it is. I think it is like the natural progression storyline wise, but when you look at real life, and WWE does, especially now with Triple H at the helm, they tend to like to keep their superstars happy more often than not. So, I mean, listen, to me, and I keep saying this and people keep debating it and arguing with me. I don't care what y'all think. I don't care what y'all say. This is my personal opinion. I think she's 100% going to end up cashing in on Liv Morgan and possibly either removing the title entirely from the Liv Rhea situation, or she's going to be the third in that dance. I could see Liv versus Tiffany versus Rhea at some point. But again, I just, basically the whole point is it gets Tiffany on Raw. And who else is on Raw? Tiffany's boyfriend, Ludwig Kaiser. Yeah, I'm over Liv as a champ too. I mean, she's not really believable. I thought with Raquel handcuffed tonight, it was a perfect chance to cash in on her. It was a layup. I mean, she took the riptide from the top rope. And then, like I said, Raquel was handcuffed. Why would you not use that opportunity to cash in? So now I definitely do believe that was a slight missed opportunity, but again, it's easy to call it a missed opportunity now, but in hindsight, in a couple months from now, after she cashes in, we'll see. We'll see if they made a good decision. It's very hard right now. Look, let's say a team goes for 4th and 2 from their own 30 in football, right? And they don't get it from their opponent's 30. Yeah, you could argue they could have kicked the field goal. You don't know how much that's actually going to affect the outcome of the game until later on. And let's say they lose by 3. Or they, you know what I'm saying? Like, they lose by 2. They could have potentially kicked that field goal in the first quarter and win up 3, and then it would have changed the whole complexion of the game. We don't actually know what this is going to look like, and I think we definitely do need to wait and watch this thing play out, and we'll see. It's like I said, it's hard to judge a book right now by its cover. We have to see where this actually progresses to and how it ends up, and then we can look back and say, whether we were right or wrong. But until then, it is a little perplexing, but I think we need to have a little more patience with the situation. I'm sure Triple H has something planned for the cash-in. 100%. 100%. Let's we gotta let Triple H cook a little bit. But anyway, shout out to, speaking of Tiffany, shout out to Tiffany and shout out to Io Sky jumping off the top of the cage. That was a great spot. That was definitely a hell of a spot there on both women. What up, Blue? Appreciate the likes. Guys, share the live. Let's get to it. But I definitely think we have not seen... There we go. I don't think we've seen the end of this. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, for God's sake. Height. There we go. Oh, damn, I messed it up. Alright, never mind. Alright, messed all that up. Anyway. Alright, what else do we have on the slate here? Sorry, guys, little technical difficulties. We'll get to it later. I'll fix it at another time. But, give me 1 second. Alright. I should be able to just... Alright, we should be good. I called 4 of the 5 matches tonight. Also, I'm a little pissed that it was, like, legit 5 matches. What the hell is that about? Seriously, like, what is that about? 5 matches? I'm not really vibing with that. I think we need more PLE matches. I don't think we need to be AEW level where we're getting 12 matches of PLE. But, I mean, 5 is crazy. Like, especially on a big PLE. There's no reason we couldn't have had the Wyatt 6 versus, what's his face's faction? Oh, my God. I'm blanking right now. Karrion Kross. There we go. I don't understand why we couldn't get Karrion Kross and the Wyatt 6 in a traditional Survivor Series match. I mean, I would love to see traditional Survivor Series matches also be a part of Survivor Series. Again, like, it's Survivor Series first, you know? Ain't no one want to see that. Yeah, but you know what? We're going to see it anyway. We're going to get it at, I think, Saturday Night Main Event. So, they started at 6 because I believe there's a UFC pay-per-view on tonight, correct? Let's see. I'm almost positive there's a UFC card on tonight. Oh, no, there's not. Why did they start so early? Why did they start so early? That's actually very that's very confusing. I'm not sure what that's about. Whatever the case, I don't know. Anyway, okay, so something I am a little shocked about, we did not have The Rock come out. I thought that was a little weird. What else we have to talk about here? See, I don't agree with that, and I watched your video where you said that. I definitely don't think we... So, WWE wants to push equality. So, with that being said, naturally the women are always going to get their own War Games match. I do think it's a little ridiculous that, like, that is etched in stone. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, we shouldn't just put women in matches solely for the sake of doing it. We just shouldn't, you know? It should honestly be, if we're talking about equity, right? It should just be the best matches. The two matches that feel like they deserve War Games, or they deserve Hell in a Cell, or they deserve the WrestleMania main event. I don't have a problem with there being two men main event. I also don't have an issue with there being two female main events at WrestleMania if that's how it's dictated. If the two best stories are led by 4 females, by all means, I'm cool with it. But make it make sense. Don't do it just for the sake of doing it. I don't like that. And honestly, it's not equitable to me. Triple H said, when he put his foot in his mouth and said, I don't see color, I don't see this, I don't see gender. Well, you know what? If you don't see gender, why are we so hell-bent on pushing a women's War Game match and a men's War Game match? It should just be the two matches that make the most sense, the two biggest blood feuds or multiple blood feuds that you could throw in there to get a 5-on-5 and push them. That's it. It should not have anything to do... I gotta be honest. It really shouldn't have anything to do with gender. It shouldn't have anything to do with race. I could maybe understand from a marketing standpoint. Obviously, if you're in Chicago, you may want CM Punk in it. If you're in Canada, obviously you want Sami Zayn in it. Or Kevin Owens. If you're in Puerto Rico, throw Damian Priest in it. You know, whatever it is. Stuff like that I understand, you know? Mr. Orloff, I'm done. I don't even know who that is. They did it for Liv and Rhea, but it ended up being a mismatch of women who hate each other. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was all right. Look, I liked the women's War Game match. I think the women's War Game match was actually pretty damn solid. And they knew early they had to get the crowd into it, and the reason you could tell is they immediately started going under the ring and throwing everything in the ring. And I was okay with that. Like I said during the stream, some matches need that extra flair. And it's when you have to back it out and you have to do things like that, that's perfectly fine. Now, where like other companies go wrong, and I'm not specifying one or another, but they put too much window dressing on certain things. And it's almost expected, and it's kind of whack. The crowd was absolutely horrible. I mean, listen. Jake, what? You said his videos are very good because of John Cena? What the hell? Anyway, I'm trying to think. Moving along. All right, so let's do it like this. Okay. I would give the women's War Games match, if we're talking a 10 scale, I would probably give it a 7. I think it was worth a 7. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Who doesn't love Big John? Put your number. What would you rate the women's War Game match out of 10? 7.3? That's like oddly specific. But I would give it a 7. I feel like a 7 is fair. It wasn't the best match. I mean, I think 7's being a little generous because I actually think the women's war game match was the third best match on the card. So, all right, we talked women's war games. What else do we got? We have the U.S. title match. We could talk U.S. title match now. As we know, AJ Styles was probably 6 because of their chair shots. They don't know how to throw a chair shot. I don't think that's that big a deal. This might not be a... Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Hold on one second. Just want to check something. Oh. Oh, okay, just making sure my Alright, I don't know if you could say that. What did you miss? You missed everything. You missed the whole PLE. But don't worry, we're talking about it now. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really overly concerned with the chair shots. I mean, I don't tune into, say, women's football or, like, basketball for, like, big collisions or, like, you know, to see someone dunk on someone. That's it. You know, later, Queen. I'll be streaming here on the Reacts page for Monday Night Raw. But, Joe, Jake, you're an idiot. Who won, OG or new? OG Bloodline won. Nothing. It's starting in 10 is crazy. Later, Queen. So, yeah, the U.S. title match, I'm not going to lie. I know I was saying it before the match that I thought Shinsuke was going to win or it was going to be a DQ. But I was heavily leaning into the DQ finish. I definitely did not really believe that Shinsuke was going to win. But you know what? I love it. We needed a title change. We absolutely did. Yo, y'all gotta stop making me laugh. Bro, Queen is married. Leave her alone. So, anyway, I gotta stop looking at the chat because my cousin is stupid. Anyway, I definitely believe that LA Knight's title reign has been very stale. And guys, let me know what you would rate the US title match, LA Knight and Shinsuke, on a 10 scale. Just drop numbers in the chat. Let's see. So LA Knight versus Shinsuke, I definitely think LA Knight's title reign was becoming mega stale. They don't have enough suitable challengers. I think the plan was to have AJ be in this spot. Obviously, AJ hurt his foot. Things happen in sports. It is what it is. But I definitely, like I said, I definitely think the belt needed to be taken off LA Knight. Maybe LA Knight should go away for a little bit. LA Knight has been constant. He's been constantly in your face on SmackDown and everything, and I respect him. I think he's a great talent, but the way they're trying to force it, they missed their boat, I feel like, with the organic LA Knight run, because people were fawning over him. And then it kind of died out a little bit, and then obviously they pumped him back up because they wanted to put the U.S. title on him, whatever. It was in SummerSlam was in Cleveland, his hometown. And wait, is LA Knight from Cleveland, or am I bugging? Where is LA Knight from? Sorry, Logan Paul. My bad. Logan Paul one? No, we didn't. Okay. Yeah, my bad. My bad. So anyway, whatever. They wanted. Okay, so this is what I meant to say. They wanted Logan Paul on SummerSlam because he's from Cleveland. Logan Paul versus the world. I'm done. So anyway, yeah, I mean, Shinsuke coming in with this revitalized character after not seeing him for months on end. Love it. I think if Shinsuke would have lost this match, it would have been time to pack Shinsuke up and send him, I don't know, anywhere but WWE main roster. So, good on them for booking Shinsuke to win in what, most people probably didn't see coming. Like I said, I thought that he was going to win or it was going to be disqualification to get them to a second match. Because if LA Knight won clean, what's the reason for having a second match? There is none. Unless obviously he assaulted him after the match, which is like so overdone. So, good on WWE. I feel they made the right call. Maybe we could have LA Knight go away a little bit, or maybe even elevate as a heel to take on Cody Rhodes after Kevin Owens does. Who knows? But we'll see. He's from Maryland? Okay. Next on the card, we had the Intercontinental Championship match. This match, in my opinion, was actually the second best match. I would give it a solid 8. I think there's something hanging right there. LP, what? I don't think it's match of the night. But I came into this PLE believing it was going to be oh my god. Oh my god. I just realized what you're talking about. I know. Oh Lord. I just realized what you were saying. Anyway, I think the IC title match, I don't think it was necessarily the match of the night, but I definitely do believe it was the second best match on the card. And it was just hard hitting. It was, it was a lot of, A and B are fighting, and then C comes in and takes B out, and then starts beating the crap out of A, or vice versa, and then the other person gets involved, and, there was always something going on. There was never a dull moment. There was never really any resting moments where, like, all three guys were down, or anything like that. It was just hard-hitting, nonstop action. It was definitely an 8. Maybe you could push it to 8.5. But, I honestly, my only issue with it was I felt like in a triple threat scenario, it would have made perfect sense to take the belt at that point off of Braun Breaker. You could have taken the belt off of Braun and transitioned it to Ludwig via pinfall of Sheamus, which is what I said prior to the match happening. And, I mean, like I said, we all knew Sheamus was going to eat the pinfall, so what the hell is this? Oh. Is that my Twitch chat? It is. So, yeah, I definitely, you knew Sheamus as the protected veteran. Like, he's, him losing one match is not going to kill him. So I think Sheamus eating the pinfall was obviously the right call. I think Ludwig has the potential to be better than Gunther, as far as being a heel and all that. And I think it's going to happen. I think Ludwig and Gunther on Raw are possibly going to get into it due to the fact that, Gunther won and Ludwig did not. Obviously their last interaction didn't, it kind of lit a fire under Ludwig to go out on his own and try to be, the best he can be. Unfortunately, he came up short. Not really at a fault of his own. Like I said, it was a triple threat match. But again, like I said, banger of a match. Loved it. I don't hate the finish. I think it's okay. I think if Sheamus does win the IC title, it's probably going to be at WrestleMania. If they even decide to give it to him. which with Triple H being his old workout buddy, I could see them giving it to him just to shut him, not necessarily shut him up, but, you know, complete that cycle of being a Grand Slam champion. Did the OG Bloodline win? Yes, they did. We'll get to that in a second. So also on the card, we had obviously Damian Priest versus Gunther. They set this up beautifully in an attempt to kind of basically not make Damian look weak, because, so let's put it this way. The second they started selling that shoulder, you 100% knew Damian was losing. There was not a shot in hell that Gunther was going to lose that match. And I don't think he should have. I don't think Gunther should lose the title. So I'm not a fan of Gunther being the champion, but since the belt is on him already, you got, and he, you know, he was so dominant with the IC title, and now he's like, you know, being dominant with the World Heavyweight Championship. You have to use it. When he loses that belt, it has to be used to elevate somebody. And I don't think Damian Priest needs it. I think Damian needs to side quest it and go deal with Finn Balor. I would love to see Damian versus Finn. I have a feeling it's going to be at Royal... actually, no, I'm sorry. It'll probably be at Saturday Night Main Event. We might get it ran back on Royal Rumble, but who knows? There's not really a lot of PLE space. I mean, you have Saturday Night Main Event, which is effectively being treated as such. You have... Shit, is that it? That's it. That's okay. So there's no PLE in January technically. They're doing the New Year's Revolution, and they're doing something else for Raw. I forget what they're calling it, but we don't really have a PLE in January. I think we're just gonna get 3-hour Raw and 3-hour SmackDown, and they're obviously gonna treat those. Well, they're at least gonna treat Raw as a PLE. So we'll see. But everyone's going to be there, including SmackDown people, so. That being said, though, I definitely think it's time for Damian Priest to... Damian Priest. It's definitely time for Damian Priest to side quest and take on Finn Balor, and the two of them can go crazy with each other, pause.
Hey, yo!
And... settle their differences. Like, it is what it is with those two. And now Gunther, the question is, where does Gunther go? I personally would love to see Gunther versus Ludwig. I don't know. It might be too soon for it. I think we're leading up to that at some point. I just don't know if it's, you know, we're at that point yet. So, whatever. But I think it's time for Gunther to move on from Damian Priest, at least for the foreseeable future, and we'll see where it goes. But the match overall was that's another match. It was very good. It loses some points with me only because of the finish. I don't mind Finn Balor getting involved. I think Finn Balor getting involved was perfect. I think it was very necessary. What I don't like is how Gunther choked him out again, especially given the fact that Finn Balor came in, hit his finisher, he got thrown back in the ring. Shout out to Gunther for not wanting to help and, you know, elbowing Finn Balor out of the way. But nonetheless, I'm not a fan of how the World Heavyweight Championship match ended. Gunther should have hit him with a move and then pinned him. I hate the choke out. I just do. It's like, in that scenario, you know, it I don't know. I just didn't like it. I don't know what it is. It's just not sitting right with me. I think it's because it's how Damian lost the belt, and you go and do it again. I'm not a fan of it. So yeah, I would say that match is probably. I'll give that match like a 6.5, maybe a 7. You know what? I'll tell you what. If I give that match a 7, I bump the women's match up to like a 7.5. Let's do that. And I think now we are at our main event. Our main event of the OG Bloodline versus the New Bloodline. And honestly, I thought there was a bit of a, I don't want to call it foreshadowing, but the fact that we had the new Bloodline walk in as one cohesive unit, and then we had the OG Bloodline coming in segmented and not necessarily broken, but it was kind of showing that they were not necessarily a team in a way. But there's two ways to view it. Like, you could be a team and still be your individual person. And I think what they were trying to highlight, I literally said this and you're not going to give me my credit. What did you say? All you said was that they weren't a team. I'm literally building off of that. Do you think Rock or Seth should have came out during? I definitely do. Shane, shut up. Anyway, I definitely feel like they were trying to highlight the fact that they are all now their own men and they're not under one, like, you know, dictatorship of Roman Reigns. They are individuals now, and they've built out themselves as individual characters and have basically spread their wings and have flown away from the nest now. Everyone except Jimmy. Jimmy has not really done that. And Jimmy initially was rocking with Solo Sikoa until he got that Samoan spike. With that being said, the big sprinkle. With that being said, tonight Jimmy had probably the biggest. You know what? I'm having trouble calling it the biggest moment of WarGames only because of that CM Punk pulling Roman off the table and the show of respect. But I mean, for an individual and for Jimmy himself, that was a huge moment. That was a huge moment for Jimmy to get that highlight. Normally I feel like they would give that to Jay. So the fact that Jimmy got to jump off the cage and put Jacob through the table like that, kudos to Jimmy. I loved it for Jimmy, especially the last time we saw Jimmy, man. Like, that WrestleMania match leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It really does. I thought it was going to be the highlight of the night, and it wasn't. We were in the crowd, and everybody in my section was mega disappointed at that match. So, for Jimmy to come back, Jimmy's normally like the comedic relief in terms of the Usos. And, he's normally the one to eat the pinfalls and things like that. It was a great moment for him. And then, again, like I said, we had the moment where CM Punk saves Roman, which came after Roman blocks CM Punk from coming out of the cage to let, Sammy? To let Sammy go in? I believe it was. Yeah, it was. And, there was some animosity there, and then Roman was going to be the fourth person in the ring, and then Punk brushed past him and, bumped him. And that was his way of telling him, you're not in charge of me, buddy. And I'm not here to work for you. I'm here because I'm here for my friend Paul Heyman. I thought that was great. And I definitely love that. Because now, once everyone got in WarGames, it was kind of like, oh, what's going to happen here, And they played that up very well. So shout out to, I'm sure Paul Heyman crafted that, and I love it. It's just, Paul Heyman's phenomenal at storytelling and building a story. So with that being said, and then obviously Roman having to fight his way into the cage, I love that. And, for anyone who was here on the stream, I obviously called out how they were setting up for the ref to get in the ring when they cut the when they used the bolt cutters to cut the chain or whatever, and then they're all picking each other up and then standing in the individual rings, and then they announced, "Let the War Games begin." That moment was fire. There were people in my chat saying they had chills. That was a great moment. And again, everything just came to a climax there.
Hey, yo.
With the animosity and the tension that was being built literally in what, a 2-week time span or a week time span ever since CM Punk was thrown into this thing. And to me, it was done masterfully, especially on such a short period of time. So with that being said, I don't want to give this match a 10 because I feel like it wasn't perfect. But I mean, shit, it was pretty close. But I'm gonna give it a 9.5. And the reason I give it a 9.5 is because I feel like there's two trains of thoughts here, right? I feel like being that the OG Bloodline won, maybe Rock should have been at the top of the stage with the payoff to where, like, now it's like, I'm stepping in and I'm taking over the new Bloodline. Like, you can't get it done, Solo. You could be my right-hand man, or, you know, I could be the acting elder, which, you know, technically per the family tree and all that, The Rock is a high chief and blah, 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 blah. We're not here to get into all that. But I definitely feel like with the OG Bloodline winning, there needed to be like a ... to be continued. And they were lacking that. And a big part of me feels like the new Bloodline deserved the win here. They needed to get over as a unit, as a team. They talk the talk until it's time for the big game. When it's, you know what I'm saying? When it's Super Bowl time, when it's Game 7, they can't get it done. Like, we see it constantly. They lose the tag match to Roman and Cody. You knew that was going to happen. Those are your two poster boys of the company. I was able to take that, like, whatever. But for them to lose WarGames with all this animosity within the OG Bloodline, I feel like there was a story within a story that could have been told, and they didn't capitalize on it. They could have lost WarGames tonight because of all these miscommunications and all these egos and literally showing the lack of team chemistry, which goes back to how even Shane was in the chat saying, like, you know, they're not coming out as a team. And honestly, if we were going to highlight that, that should have been some sort of foreshadowing to the fact that they were losing. You know, like, they don't have it together. They're not a team. They're not playing well. They have no chemistry. You know, it's like going into a football game and all you're looking for is to get your personal rushing yards or, you know, meet your contract elevators. You know, I need to get 10 touchdowns on the season so I can see that extra $500K. You know, like intrinsic, like personal shit. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it. And again, I'm not saying it was a bad match. I'm not, you know, or anything like that. I loved it either way, you know, but I definitely feel like the new Bloodline had a lot more to gain winning that match. But again, we'll have to look at this in hindsight, let's say the night after WrestleMania, because what was this all for? That's going to be the question for me. Where are we going with this? What comes next? Like I said, I feel like The Rock should have been the payoff. You know, I'm stepping in now. I'm big bruvin' this right here. I'm big bro. You know? And we didn't get that. What's the question, Matt? Matty boy? I have a follow-up question for you, Matt. I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. Yo, Matt, get out of here. Matt, I have a question for you. Are you ready? Dun dun. For the Royal Rumble! Let's form our own bloodline. Let's do it. Facts. Me and Matt hit Royal Rumble. Shane, I'm really looking for Saturday Night Main Event tickets. I'm trying not to break the bank here, spending all this money and shit on the house and whatnot. and also Royal Rumble. So if you want to, I can get a $50 ticket, Shane. We could be in the house for $56. You feel me? Yeah, this is gonna be my second Rumble, and the first Rumble sucked. The first Rumble sucked. It was when Roman won, ironically. Here we are almost... Actually, here we are 10 years later. Because he won in, what, 2015? But anyway, so yeah, like I said, I'm definitely okay with the outcome of the match. I'm actually okay with the outcome of every match. Here is my one major nitpick for WarGames, okay? My one major nitpick is WWE had the chance to do something. And it would have been a first. They've had plenty of War Games now, you know, with NXT and WWE main roster and all that. They should have let Rhea Ripley's team win because Liv Morgan left the cage. For those of you who don't know... Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Hold up, guys! We got Tabitha in here. Oh, shout out to Tabitha! The Simonetti gang is here! Oh my God! I don't even know if that's PG. Yo, you don't disrespect Tabitha. That is. I'm goodbye. I'm done. I am so done right now. Why am I being tag teamed?
Hey, yo.
By the Simonetti family. What is going on here, ladies and gentlemen? Ramon's mom? No, Ramon's mom's name is Cynthia, bro. That's Matt's wife. Who I'm also going to Royal Rumble with. What's up? What's up, John? What's your question, cuz? What's your question, babes? Now that we ruined my my TikTok thing, don't let me down. He didn't let you down! Guys, honestly, this is my favorite drop, and I don't use this enough.
Yo, homeboy! Welcome to the hood, brother! Hulk Hogan's neighborhood, that is, man!
Honestly, my favorite drop that I have. I deleted a couple, so on accident, but whatever. What else do I have on here? Oh no, my You Deserve It one got deleted. Fuck! Anyway, guys, so I'm gonna close out with this. Oh, Lord. Oh, there we go. Okay. YouTube clip. Not YouTube, TikTok clip right here. Okay, my biggest nitpick on this entire show is, like I said, you had the chance to extend this Liv and Rhea rivalry until WrestleMania, which is like 95% what's going to happen anyway, right? So, why not? Why give Rhea the satisfaction of hitting the Riptide on Liv Morgan through the table and then definitively pinning her? Why not avoid that until WrestleMania? Now when Rhea beats her for the title, it's not gonna be, you know, it already happened. We've seen it at War Games. Granted, it was in a 10-woman tag, but whatever the case, we still seen it. I don't want to see that yet. I feel if we would have waited for that, right? Like similar to, and I'm not saying this would be the same effect, but similar to Austin and Vince when we waited and waited and waited and waited, and then Austin finally hit the stunner. Why couldn't we wait? Why couldn't Liv climb her ass when she went for the Riptide, picked her up, grabbed the top of the cage, climbed her ass out, cost her team the match, and then Liv basically go into hiding from now until WrestleMania? And obviously, you know, you can have a lot of close calls and run-ins, but obviously Raquel's there. But have Liv avoid taking that pinfall and generate some serious heat, getting out of the cage, and then for the next couple months, we're waiting. Yo, my chat's crazy. And then we're waiting for that moment. We're waiting for Rhea to finally get her revenge. Similar to Cody, right? I mean, that's what made WrestleMania 41 so special. It seemed like Cody could never get over that hump. And Cody could never, ever get one over on Roman Reigns or really anybody in the bloodline, right? Why didn't we do that? I feel like that would have gotten such a huge pop at WrestleMania if for months Rhea just could not get her lick back on Liv Morgan, and it didn't pay itself off until WrestleMania. Did the men's war game match start? Nah, starts in 10 minutes. Yeah. I like, me personally, I just feel like that would have sold the hell out of that match, especially if it was the night one main event, Rhea vs. Liv, right? Which I think if it's penciled in for WrestleMania right now, we should absolutely see Rhea vs. Liv as the main event on night one. I genuinely believe that. And again, I think the story's played out. I think it is going too long, but that's also why I'm saying you have Liv climb out of the cage, right? Liv climbs out of the cage. Rhea's team automatically wins. Boom. But there's not that level of satisfaction. Yeah, WarGames is over, cool player. No, it's over. So yeah, you have that level of satisfaction, or sorry, you lack that level of satisfaction. Yeah, you got the win, but then Liv, running scared to the back is like, haha, you didn't get me. So then from WarGames, so you have WarGames is now ending November. December, you only have Saturday Night Main Event. You have you have Rhea versus Raquel, and maybe at some point you have some sort of match to get Rhea into the Women's Royal Rumble. Like, you build it up, you keep building it to where, like, it's another obstacle thrown in her way, and then, whether she wins the Royal Rumble or wins the Elimination Chamber, you have it, like, constantly boil, hit that boiling point, and then she finally gets over the hump, and then she gets and you know what? I would honestly love to see Rhea and Liv, because of the running and all this stuff, in a Hell in a Cell, even a steel cage match. You know what I'm saying? Get it to where, like, now Liv doesn't have a way out. And I know that's kind of like, WarGames. So I personally think a Hell in a Cell would be great for them. It's a blood feud, right? It checks that box. And for months, Liv in this scenario would be running from Rhea. And I think it would just be a perfect WrestleMania match. You're going to... I can't go. Me and Matt, we were talking... once it was announced for Easter, there was no shot at us going whatsoever. So, it is what it is. What? Oh, Lord. Shane, your texts are ridiculous. Yeah, I personally do think it's going to be, how many followers do you need? I don't know. It used to be 1,000. Now I think it dropped to like 200. I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, I'm kind of just yapping at this point, but I would absolutely love, or would have loved, for that to play out, and it didn't, so whatever. Go to creator setting. What, it tells you? But yeah, I mean, guys, that is our live review of Survivor Series. Definitely like and subscribe, share it, do all that good social media stuff over on YouTube. And I'm just going to end it now. That's it. We're not even going to cut this. We're not going to clip it. We're just going to post it as is. So, that's it. I'll see you guys Monday night for Raw on TikTok.